The first Polish nuclear power plant, it should be ready 2036. There's no better place to live than Europe. We see that from UK, for example, and Germany, people are coming back. We have frozen Russian assets. We really need to use them.
Can Europe maintain its generous social model as it comes under pressure from Russia, China and the United States? To discuss the challenges facing Europe and its star economic performer Poland, I'm going on the record with Polish Finance Minister Andrzej Domański. Minister Domański, thank you very much for being on the record.
Thanks for having me.
Minister, the Polish economy is doing very well, but I'm sure there are things that keep you awake at night. What are they?
Well, as you said, we are doing really well. Our GDP is growing at a fast pace in European Union. This year, Poland will join the G20 group works, and this is because last year, Polish economy joined the group of the 20 largest economies in the world. So we are really proud of that. Having said that, of course, there are some challenges. And the situation in the European Union, in the Eurozone in particular, is really one that we need to focus on. And we do notice that the recovery in Eurozone is really sluggish. And that's something that makes me slightly unhappy.
So what can you do about it?
Well, what we can do about the European Union, first of all, European Union must focus on GDP growth and competitiveness. And we do know what we need to do. So first of all, focus on deregulation, or as some call it, simplification of European law. We must remember that GDP growth, the growth of the economy, is really our goal. It's not only a byproduct of wise policies designed in Brussels. It's the goal, and without GDP growth, without growing economy, without growing revenues, tax revenues, we won't be able to finance all of our needs. And countries like Poland, yes, we do have our needs. We spend close to 5% of our GDP on defense. And we are the leader in NATO in this field, and we do need a competitive European economy in order to fill all those needs. So once again, deregulation, clean energy transition. Still in Poland we have quite high energy prices, and this is why right now Poland is, I believe, the biggest energy transition field in European.
What does it mean?
Well, we invest really a lot in onshore, offshore wind farms. Also, we do invest in our first Polish nuclear plant.
But recently there were some reports that there is some delay with that nuclear project.
Well, frankly, no, there are no delays. Our government really speed up with preparation for the process of building of the first Polish nuclear power plant. It should be ready 2036, so it's a long term. Having said that, we need to accelerate it, and we will spend billions of Polish zloty in order to finance it.
When are we going to see the first tangible sign of this project actually being constructed?
I believe it's already started, and we will see it 2026. So this year, already this year. But it's not only about building a new generation sources like wind farms or solar panels on nuclear. It's also about investing billions of euro in energy grid. Our government managed to unlock European funds from a so-called RRF system in order to finance clean energy transition, and billions of euros are invested right now
in the grid.
In the grid, it's really needed. And last but not least, digitalization of economy. We definitely need more digital systems, IT systems being implemented in Polish companies, and our government is creating some incentives in order to increase adoption of IT solutions.
You mentioned the high spending on defense, and it's not just Poland. Many European countries are now facing the problem. But in Poland, the deficit, as you said, is about 5% last year, and this year may go up to 6% or around 6%.
Actually, this year deficit will be lower than in 2020. 25. Having said that, it's still at the elevated.
But it's still relatively high.
Elevated levels. We are taking some steps to lower it down. But Polish zloty is really strong. It appreciated more or less 17% since our government took power.
Is it good?
I mean, strong zloty, good for Polish citizens. It helps lower
How about the
inflation.
exporters? They probably don't like it.
a kind of challenge for exporters. Again, they are doing better and better, exporters in Poland, and it's also a positive sign. But of course, with currency appreciation, it's always
double-edged.
Double-edged, yes.
So, you know, by some estimation, in 2027, so next year, Poland may end up with the highest budget deficit in the entire EU.
We plan to lower deficit. Yes, we have presented special tools to do that. Of course, President is not helping us. President is not helping us with
President Nawrocki.
President Nawrocki, the president of Poland, is not helping us in this field. He vetoed quite recently 2 important bills that were providing additional resources for budget and for the public health system, and so.
So you mean higher taxation?
Yes, but it's higher. It is called sugar fee for sugar added to some soft drinks, but we will manage to lower deficit anyway.
But is it the case, you mentioned that Europe needs growth, Poland needs growth in order to be able to finance defense spending and other programs. But is the European welfare model as such sustainable, given that you have demographic trends which are not necessarily helpful, you have a lot of social spending? Can Europe afford this, or do you think this social model needs some modification?
First, let's not forget about the European strengths, because we tend to focus on the weaknesses of Europe, but we do have plenty of strengths. We are a very big market, 500 million consumers. It's something really important. Our workforce is really well skilled. We have very good universities. We have technologies. We have very promising young companies, but too often we let them leave, for example, to US at the later stage of their development. And this is why it's so crucial to develop strong European capital markets, because it's really a shame that so many European companies decide to be listed in New York, listed on the New York Stock Exchange, instead of Paris, Frankfurt, or even better, Warsaw. So this is why in Poland we prepared a special program. We call it Innovate Poland, 4 billion zloty, roughly 1 billion euro of capital that will be invested through the special vehicles in the most promising, most attractive young companies from the most technologically advanced sectors.
And how will you manage? How will you measure success of this? By listings on the Warsaw Stock Exchange, or
by the access to capital for young companies? It's really often a problem that young companies they have problems with access to the bank credit. Yes, they have no revenues yet, but they need capital to grow, to scale up. So this is why the instruments of venture capital, private equity, I don't want to go too much into details,
yes,
but they do need capital, and we do need to provide it but in a very organized way. So there will be a team of fund managers, very independent, that will decide whether to invest in this or that company.
You provided a very diplomatic answer to my question, so I'll try again. Do you think the current model that Europe enjoys, fairly generous welfare, social cohesion, is that sustainable, or is it that Europe needs to move more towards the US model of more competition, perhaps less social spending?
Well, the European model is first of all good. There's no better place to live, in my opinion. There's no better place to live than Europe, and I strongly believe in that. Then, of course, some adjustments are needed, but we need to focus on competitiveness, and that's what Mario Draghi, the former Prime Minister of Italy, wrote his report.
But nobody implements the stuff that he does.
And this is not true.
No?
Many countries and the European Commission is implementing Draghi report, maybe recommendations, maybe not at the pace that was would be really enjoyed by me or Mr. Draghi, but I want to be frank, it's accelerating. Then on the regulation, of course, we are doing, I believe, huge job here in Poland, but in Brussels as well, they started preparing so-called omnibus packages to deregulate or simplify some EU regulations. But once again, we need to focus. We do need to focus on some of the weaknesses.
So if US officials are saying Europe is sclerotic and needs to change its model completely, you disagree with that?
I'll defend Europe. I strongly defend Europe. As I said, there are of course some weaknesses. We need to fix them, but I believe in our social model. I believe in the country that protects its citizens. I believe in a country that's really take care about those that really need help. And I believe that there are some European values that we all share. Having said that, as a Minister of Finance and Economy, I also focus on those weaknesses and over-regulation of European economy. Maybe we went too far with some so-called green laws, pushing cost of the companies too high. Frankly speaking, I see no benefits for climate from moving factory from France, Italy, or Poland to some Asian competitors. And we cannot forget that it's a race. So of course, we are happy that Europe is doing some progress. At the same time, I'm watching what our competitors from Asia or US are doing, and very often, too often, at the same time, they are doing more. So this is why Poland, we want to be like, to some extent, pushing for more and quicker changes in Europe.
Right. I want to discuss the European budget a little with you. Should it be streamlined to let's say, produce some savings in that budget to ease pressures on national budgets? And the second question related, and maybe you can take them in combination, should there be a bigger share of that future EU budget going to Ukraine?
Well, so first of all, supporting Ukraine is absolutely crucial. We need to, by supporting Ukraine, actually we are supporting ourselves. Yes, so we just cannot allow Putin to win this war. We need to be strong and very decisive in our support for Ukraine, both in military terms and, of course, economic issues. So that's point number one. Point number two, we want a very well-functioning European Union, and we want it to be thinking about possible big achievement. In such a environment, we also need a big European budget. And we want ambitious European
Okay,
Union.
so basically you're saying the budget should not be cut.
Budget should not be cut. We take this initial European Commission proposal as a good starting point for the further discussion. Everyone knows what's important for Poland. It's common agriculture policy, cohesion funds. That's clear.
Is Poland ready to share some of its allocated money with Ukraine in terms
Poland,
of this solidarity?
We'll be discussing. Be discussing. It's the process of negotiation will take years. Actually, we are ready to find a good solution together with our European and also non-European partners, because it's very important to have countries from supporters of Ukraine being constantly involved.
Okay, so can Ukraine count on some allocation in that future budget?
It's not up to me to.
But what's Poland's view on this?
It's not up to me to decide. Poland's view is very clear. We need to support Ukraine both financially and military, and of course financially. We have frozen Russian assets. We really need to use them. And other tool that was presented that was presented recently by European Commission is using a special loan. But what's important is that our contribution to the European Union budget will not be hiked because of that.
How quickly do you think the topic of frozen assets should return to the EU agenda?
Well, we've just discussed it, so
yes.
Probably we need some time for further.
But is it going to be this year, or do you think it's like next time you need to decide on? Because now it's for 2 years, right?
It's up to leaders to decide. Sorry, okay. But definitely some solution we need to find.
Right. Speaking of Ukraine, Ukrainian workers even before the war were making a major contribution to the Polish economy because of the labor market, but also contributions to the social security system. Are you afraid that if there is peace and maybe reconstruction of Ukraine, some of these workers will go back to Ukraine and deprive you of revenue, but also the economy of workers?
First of all, we keep our fingers crossed for just and lasting peace in Ukraine. That's the most important, really the most important. Then, on economic impact on the Polish labor market, well, let's see. There are different analyses of this issue. I like to use comparison to Poland in 1989. Well, when the communism ended in Poland, we haven't noticed millions of Polish people coming back to Poland from US, UK, or Germany, right? Why? Because the living standards, living conditions in Poland were so much lower than in those countries then in 1989 and 1990 when this miracle began. So frankly, I believe that not too many of Ukrainians will decide to come back, but it's of course totally up to them.
Right. There is a general problem with demographics in Poland. So some kind of, what is the answer? Some of the analysis that you quoted indicates that there will be shortages of equivalent of 200,000 people leaving the job market in Poland annually from now on. What can you do about this? Well,
we see from the experience of some Western European countries that it's very, very difficult. And the demographic policy is a really challenging one. What we can do, for example, increase access to affordable houses, This is why we decided to spend additional 2 billions of zloty
But do you mean for the domestic?
for the domestic.
So migration is out of the question, some kind of...
Let's focus first on
Okay.
providing better environment for Polish couples for having children. That's point number one. So, for example, households is availability of houses, lowering their prices or making them more affordable is, I believe, very important. Then we presented the special program already in 2024 that gives the families that have children 1,500 zloty for their parents in order to be able to move them to kindergartens to fix.
So that's 350 euros approximately.
To
right?
fix this cost. Then the cost of living in Poland. What I want to say is that wages are growing faster than cost of living, which is not really a case in many European countries. So I believe that building strong economy is also helping in these important decisions of having children. Then, of course, we also decided to finance the in vitro program. Already 8,000 children were born thanks to those additional funding. So we are doing what's possible
on the domestic front, but
yeah.
Is some kind of migration program on the cards,
Well,
or
we are trying to encourage Polish people who left Poland, probably are watching us right now, to come back. And
how successful is that?
Well, so we see that from UK, for example, and Germany, people are coming back. And this is exactly because, I believe, it's because wages in Poland are growing. Zloty is getting stronger. So when you compare wages in Poland to wages in UK or Germany or Norway, where I was a couple of days ago, it's really they're getting stronger and stronger. And I hope that this is just the beginning of this trend. I don't remember the exact figure, but thousands, tens of thousands of Polish people living in UK decided last year to come back to Poland. They're really welcome here.
Another question. Poland imports 50 billion euros worth of goods from China. Polish exports to China are equivalent to around 4 billion euros. So it's a huge trade imbalance. But Poland is not alone. Other European countries have similar problems. So what should Europe do about competition from China? Should it impose more tariffs and barriers to Chinese exports?
First of all, let's focus on our own competitiveness. That's what we are doing. So to keep production in Europe, also in energy-intensive sectors of the economy, then so it will. This will help for sure. Then European Commission is introducing a special fee for parcels, so it will also make a level playing field for European companies. It's a fee for parcels not only from China, of course, but let's be honest, it will impact parcels that are sent from China.
Cars are not being sent by parcels.
Cars are not
China.
being sent by parcels, and this is why we need strong European car industry. Actually, we need a whole value chain.
But does it need to be protected by tariffs, for example?
Well, we've already voted for tariffs on EVs, electric vehicles, from imported to the European market. But once again, I believe in open competition. I believe in focusing on our own competitiveness, fixing where we are weaker, and developing when we are where we are strong.
So you're not in favor of steep tariffs on Chinese goods?
But at the same point, I'm really in favor of creating this level playing field. So if there are countries that are not following our safety standards, for example, well, then we need to take it into consideration. We just cannot allow for European companies, especially Polish companies, being hit by foreign non-European Union competitors that do not adjust to our safety standards, for example.
We're coming to an end of this conversation. I wanted to ask you a really controversial one at the end, which is, we see that the United States is pressuring Denmark to give up Greenland. Given all sorts of US pressure on the European economy, do you think Greenland should Denmark should sell Greenland to the US just to prevent another shock for the European economy?
I mean, the answer has been already given 1,000 times by Danish government. Greenland is not for sale. So it's really, there's no point in answering this question, as Greenland is not for sale. Greenland is part of Denmark, and that's Greenland is also protected by NATO. So frankly speaking, I think it's very theoretical question.
But should there be a deal? Should there be a deal between the US and Denmark on this issue?
I believe that we need to. It's more, of course, a question to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. But of course, we do need to protect our borders, European borders or NATO borders, from countries like Russia. And we know there is a growing presence of Russia in this region. And I believe that NATO members are ready to step up our efforts. But it's not a question of selling Greenland.
Mr. Domański, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching. This was On the Record, and see you later this week.